Hey, this is Craig Valentine from Early to Rise Radio, and today we're doing a deep dive into AI marketing, copywriting, sales, making you money with Galel Fajardo, who is one of our coaches here at Early to Rise. So Galel, AI, a little bit scary for some people.
Yeah.
This is going to be some very serious stuff, but you're also going to be able to simplify it for people and probably get them excited about it. But what's AI going to do to the world?
Yeah, so it's going to do a few things. So number one, it makes it a little bit scary because you have to figure out who you can trust, because a lot can be faked with AI.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know whether it's somebody's, like, is it really Craig Valentine speaking or is it an AI version of Craig Valentine? So we've seen this stuff about deep fakes coming out, right? So it's going to really raise the level of distrust that some people have. That's the negative side. Okay, on the positive side, you and I are all about productivity, right? We're all about how to make life easier. And AI really is going to make life easier for a lot of business owners because so many of our clients are solopreneurs, they have small teams. AI allows them to expand that work and be able to get stuff done a lot easier and faster.
What's the coolest thing that you've seen AI do? Maybe not just in marketing, but in general, what's the coolest thing you've seen AI do?
The coolest thing I've seen AI do so far is, with a click of a button, generate a piece of content that sounds just like you. That's the coolest thing I've seen, because a lot of times we're in this world, we have to create content. And so if you could just, with a click of a button, have it spit something out that sounds and reads just like you would, that saves you so much time and energy. I find that as one of the coolest things I've done recently. The other really neat thing I've seen AI do is being able to take a sales letter, put it into AI, and tell the AI, based on the criteria I've given it, I want you to find the weaknesses in this sales letter. And so even with our ads that we've worked on at Early to Rise, we use a lot of AI to help us find a way to really dial in the messaging. And I find that very powerful.
So what specific case study, what have you used AI to do that's generated some type of marketing and some type of results? What were you able to do?
Okay, so I'll give two different examples. So the first example is a client of ours who wanted to do better search engine optimization. So he was targeting certain types of keywords for his area of business. So what we did was we created an AI engine for him. They call him a GPT that was personalized to him. We uploaded his voice into there and we gave it the criteria as far as what the content output should look like. So we told the AI, this is what we want. So then when his assistant helps him put together the article, she will upload the article in there and with a click of a button says, this is the article, what I'm going to optimize it for, clicks the button and it spits out and says, well, in order to optimize for this term, here's what needs to change in the article, giving specific feedback. So now his assistant, who's not an SEO expert, is a pseudo SEO expert because she's being co-piloted by the AI. That's very powerful because a lot of people are flying in the dark.
Yeah.
AI allows them to have a co-pilot next to them. The other really cool thing I've seen is I've had clients who say, hey, here's my current sales page. It's not converting as well as I want it to. And it's time consuming to go through a really long sales page sometimes and then try to find the areas of opportunity. With AI, what you can do is get a head start. It still requires somebody that knows copywriting. So you got to have that skill set. But you take the sales page, you drop it in, and you tell it who it's specifically targeting. The AI, with its knowledge base, will be able to go back and say, you know what, your headline is missing the mark. Here's why. Add these elements to help increase the factor of, kind of twisting the knife a little bit, increasing the pain for that end user because your headline's not doing the trick. The subheading's not compelling enough. Consider changing these words. Consider these bullet points. And it'll take you step by step through the sales page and provide different suggestions for it. Those are two things we've done with our clients, and it's making massive improvements. One of our clients, Shannon Logan, she's totally fine with me sharing these results, but we took her Facebook ads, ran them through an AI engine, and found a way to improve the ad copy based upon what we told it. And that led to increased click-through rate, increased number of leads, and increased sales as a result of it. So truly turning the baseline ads into more money because of AI.
So how do you use AI to create those personalized GPTs and bots and all those things so that you're able to replicate a client's voice for content marketing?
So in order to replicate a voice, you need to have content to go from. So for example, when I want to replicate Craig's voice in certain content pieces, or I'm helping you form an ad or giving input on a sales letter, I am giving the inputs to the GPT. I'm telling it, I want you to base this writing off of this transcript. So I will transcribe your YouTube videos, and because it's you actually speaking, we upload those transcripts. We'll take articles he's written. The GPT also has a copy of the Perfect Day Formula, Perfect Week Formula, and Unstoppable, 3 books that Craig has written. We give those as input. So it has this knowledge as far as what you're teaching, and we just give it more stuff. The more you give it, the better it gets refined.
So what are the actual systems that you use for doing this? So someone's like listening to this and go, wow, I would love to do that, but they're sitting in front of their computer going, I don't even know where to start.
Totally. So here's very simply, this is what you do. You go to ChatGPT and you pay for a premium account, $20 a month, and you go to create a GPT. When you create a GPT, you're creating your own bot in and of itself.
Sure.
And then what you can do is you give it specific instructions, and it has a knowledge base so you can upload data into it, and that's what it bases the voice off of. And so you just have to make sure that you're only as good as your prompts. This is where it gets a little bit into the weeds, but I'm gonna tell you, if you're doing prompts, they're probably too simple. People will say, create a 1,000-word article on the topic of time management, and it'll just create some bland article. Versus using the content I have uploaded into your knowledge base, reference that as my voice, match the tone, and match the, match the tone and the voice, writing to this audience what you want as the output, and what do you want the call to action to be? So as long as you give it those parameters on a general level, it will then spit out what you're looking for.
Got it. What are some of the weaknesses aside from, I mean, are there more on the user side that if you have bad prompts, is there anything else where this system just isn't up to speed with your best content that you can create?
Yeah, so your content will, as long as you're a good writer, will always perform better if you yourself follow the principles of good direct response advertising, right? In your copywriting. You're only as good as your prompts. So if you put in crappy prompts, you're gonna get out crappy outputs.
What if you also train the thing on crappy content?
Then you're gonna have crappy outputs as well. So you've gotta have a good solid base of content to give it in order to be able to learn from it. Because it's a robot, right? A robot, it only is as good as what you give it. So it's the same thing if you have a calculator and you're asking me to divide 100 by 10, but I put in 1,000 by 10, I'm gonna get a crappy output. So the user has to know how to talk to the robot appropriately.
So let's go back to the basics of direct response. What are some of the most important things that somebody has to understand in their copywriting so that they create good copywriting in the first place, which feeds the machine good copywriting, which allows then the machine to have a basis for using good prompts to create great copywriting. So
yes.
What do they need to know?
Number one, they have to know who they're speaking to. If you are speaking to too broad of an audience and you're not super clear on who your message is to, you can't craft a good message, right? It's like we're in election season and they're trying to talk to a certain specific demographic of voters. And if they're missing the mark as to what matters to those voters, they're not going to get the votes. It's the same thing. People vote with their pocketbooks, they vote with their time. And so if you're creating content and you're targeting the wrong person, it's going to fall on deaf ears. So you have to know clearly who you're speaking to.
And so I think this is what I see in articles that are sent to me that are made by AI, or you see a content piece that just is really bad, is just too general.
Yeah.
And anybody who's watching this has probably played around, put in some simple prompts, got back this article and said, this is horrible, I would never read this.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to the fact that they haven't given it the system on, it's almost like you want the AI to become an apprentice copywriter by you giving it good copywriting.
Yes.
And then you have to say to your apprentice, I need something written specifically for this audience, specifically in this tone.
Yes.
And when you do that, you're going to get a remarkably different piece of content than the generic crap and garbage that is being spit out in most cases.
Yes. Yes, it's all about the quality prompt that you give it, right? You have to give it a quality prompt. So you first off, you have to tell the AI, you are going to be my world-class copywriter. You are going to craft, and you tell it what it's going to craft. The voice and tone should match the previous inputs I have given you. right? Then you tell it the purpose of this sales letter is to target my ideal audience, which is a 40-year-old male entrepreneur who's married with 2 kids. Like, you give the whole description, right? To get them to buy this product, the millionaire morning routine. And the goal of the millionaire morning routine is to introduce them to the world of Early to Rise and hopefully get them to become a private coaching client. Like, you give it the whole customer journey. So that way it will find the nuances it needs to plant those seeds in the ads, in the sales letter, in the email sequence to get your ideal person to the desired outcome.
Do you also have to tell it to like understand what copywriting is? Like, hey, first of all, go and read this book on copywriting. Like, do you tell it to do that too?
So I've played around with it, and if you just go right now into ChatGPT or Claude or any of these tools and you ask it, tell me the principles of direct response copywriting, it will tell you really good stuff. I like to take it a step further. So what I will do is I will take a copywriting book and I will upload it and I will say, I want you to apply the principles from this book into the copy that you create.
Okay.
So I kind of double down on it by letting it have its own knowledge, but I want to give it the knowledge that I know and know what's in there to apply to it.
So right now, somebody's out there listening going, okay, that sounds like a lot of work. I'll just do it myself. What would you say to somebody who's resistant to incorporating AI into their workflow?
Yes. So find the most difficult thing that you struggle with and that's most time consuming for you and incorporate that into using your AI practice, right? Or practicing with AI. So I'll give you an example from my own life. I am great at marketing other people's stuff. When it comes to marketing my stuff, it's like I hit this wall.
A lot of people are
right?
like that.
And
Yeah.
it's a fairly common thing. So what I did was the resistance for me to create content was the content ideas. So I decided to create a content clarity system that I taught at one of our masterminds that is a big prompt. I mean, it's like a 2-page prompt that's fill in the blank. Filled it out for myself, and now I always know what to talk about. I've done that for Craig. So now when we're strategizing YouTube videos, I'm pulling from that list and finding other topics that we can talk about. So I would say start there. Mm-hmm. And the content clarity system is something that we've given to our clients inside of Early to Rise. So if someone comments content clarity here, I'll make sure they get a copy of that, no cost. And this is something people have paid thousands of dollars to get access to. So we'll help hook them up with that.
And what are some of the misconceptions that people have about AI when it comes to marketing?
The misconceptions are that it is just plug and play, that I should be able to just ask for a sales letter and it should just spit out a sales letter.
Right.
That it's easier than it than it needs to be, that just by a push of a button. It takes more work up front, then it becomes very easy. So if you're willing to put in the work up front, then you have the big payoff. So it's like writing out who's your ideal client, what is it that you're selling, what is your ascension model, what is your pricing, what are the pain points, and really getting the AI to know who your target market is. If you can get all that stuff up front, then your life becomes much easier.
So when you go and do this for clients and you do run their ads and their sales letters and you ask for the weaknesses, are there commonalities that you see in the weaknesses? Like, are most people getting certain like really key things wrong in their copy?
Yep.
That even if somebody wasn't going to use AI, they could go back and go, you know what, I need to double down on my headline or my whatever it is.
So there's there's a lot of areas, Craig, but I'm going to focus on 2 just to keep it simple for everybody. First thing is your headline is typically not compelling enough and doesn't speak to your like main benefit. That's generally the thing that comes up, is like the headline is too generic.
Yeah.
It needs to be hard hitting and it needs to be impactful on what speaks to your target audience, right? So that's number 1. The second thing is that when people include bullet points in their sales copy, more often than not, it's features instead of benefits. And so on almost every sales page that I analyze, it says, you need to focus more on benefits versus features. These are all features of your offer. You need to focus more on benefits.
And what does that specifically mean? So like, even if somebody doesn't use AI,
Yeah.
What does it mean to focus on benefits and not features?
Yeah. So for example, if I'm going to sell you an iPhone, right? If I'm going to talk about features of the iPhone, Craig, it has a 16 megapixel camera. It has 256 terabytes of storage space. Okay. Those two are features versus if I say benefits, Craig, carrying an iPhone is like carrying a portable television studio with you. You can create content from absolutely anywhere in the world with absolute crispness of audio and video. It's going to increase
Wait. So
that you can create content and be able to make more money.
Yes, that's the benefit.
Right? That's the benefit of it, right? So it's like versus focusing on what the individual features are, you talk about what it can do for you.
Yeah, so when Bedros and I used to teach copywriting, we would tell people to write benefits, and they would oftentimes write the feature, like, it's got a 6, how big is that screen on an iPhone?
I don't know, who knows?
Yeah, okay, so you have like 5-inch screen on your iPhone. Okay, that's a feature. So that you can record videos with great clarity and whatever. That's obviously not matched, but you can record videos with great clarity. Okay, that's a benefit, but then we use the words so that. Yeah. So that your content looks like it was created in a professional studio, so that you can build the authority factor faster with your audience, so that they will know, like, and trust you faster, so that they will buy from you easier, so that you will make more money, so that you will then have more financial freedom, so that then you can buy back your time, so that you can then buy back your time and have more time with your family, which is why you're doing this. So the reason why you buy an iPhone to make great videos is to have more time with your family.
Yep.
That's the real reason you buy the iPhone. Well, in addition, so that you look cool and, when you're at Starbucks and all the other iPhone people are there. Like, there is that element of it that is, nobody talks about. But it's the real reason is you're trying to get some benefit out of the thing that you buy.
Yeah.
And you really have to talk to that in your copywriting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big mistake. So what specifically you said the first mistake was not talking to the audience or having a bad generic headline.
Yep.
How do people make a better headline specifically?
Specifically by getting into, and you talk about this a lot, it comes from Dan Kennedy, right? Entering the conversation in your ideal prospect's mind.
Dan Kennedy is a great student of marketing. And so he has studied all these guys from 100 years ago who are, long passed away. And he does give credit to it. And the guy's name was Cabot Robert, who said that first. And he was like a life insurance guy or something.
See, that I just learned for the first time.
Really?
I've been attributing it to Dan Kennedy.
Listen, I've been to so many Dan Kennedy events that I can finish the stories when he starts telling them. But that's a Cabot Robert thing from the life insurance world. Enter the conversation in the prospect's mind. And if you know nothing else about marketing except for those 7 words, man, like you'll just understand it better than somebody who has an MBA.
100%. And that right there, if you can concentrate on that, entering the conversation that's in your prospect's mind, that right there is the linchpin to helping you write better headlines, because then you're going to focus on what their pain points are and you're going to speak to what makes them tick. And that is the major thing, the major weakness that I see that people have in their copywriting.
Yeah, you need to enter the conversation in the prospect's mind like this bug just entered my water cup there. But when you do that, and the interesting thing about entering the conversation in the prospect's mind is that it changes all the time.
Yeah.
And so on Monday morning, the conversation in your prospect's mind is different than the conversation at 5 o'clock on Friday. And making sure that your social media content reflects that. Like if you're doing a hardcore discipline post on Friday morning, it's not the conversation going through people's minds.
Yeah.
And so you have to think about that. Now, the Facebook ads that you're running all the time, that's not going to change as much, but making sure that you enter the conversation around the benefits that they want to get from buying your products and services is key. So what's the future look like for AI? Because when did ChatGPT first get released? Is that 2 years
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay, so 2 years ago, it's changed a lot, and mostly it's changed a lot because people are it's changed a lot in terms of how well people are using it, because people figured out how to use it. So it's human error at the start.
Yep.
But what's it look like for you as somebody who's really used it over 2 years? Yep. How has it changed for you as a user who gets it?
Yeah, so many more tools are available for you, which is a good and a bad thing.
Right, because you can chase them all.
Yes, that is exactly it. I know for me, I forever was looking for that silver bullet, that was going to transform my business. So the course comes out, the tool comes out, I buy it. That becomes a trap. As a marketer, I'm telling you, I've fallen into that trap. So as these tools come out, evaluate what you really need. And I'm gonna tell you, keep it simple. Don't get bogged down on every single little tool. Like, keep it simple and figure out what is your problem, solve that problem, right? The other thing too is, this should be something to encourage everybody that watches your YouTube channel, is the fact that AI is gonna leads to, and we've already seen it with deep fakes and stuff, to distrust. So that means we as ethical marketers have a great opportunity to market to people with authenticity and be able to show people like, we're real people, we're not perfect, and here's why you can trust us. As distrust in the marketplace goes up, that means that there's opportunity for us to showcase our authenticness, right? And
that's why we shouldn't have fixed my hair.
You should leave the one hair off. 100%, Craig. That's right.
Like, your hair looks good. Mine should look as stupid as it normally does. Okay, so that's great. What do you think is going to happen in the next 12 to 36 months with the AI tools that you use for marketing? What do you expect it to do for you and for it to do for the people watching?
So what I expect is for the tools to become way more intelligent. So instead of me having to upload PDFs or books on copywriting, the knowledge base is gonna start really expanding. I foresee, I've already seen copywriters kind of making their own AI copywriting tools to help streamline the process. So the process, I think, will get easier. I think you're gonna have more libraries of prompts that you'll be able to purchase or get from people. Like our coaching clients that we have, our private coaching clients inside of Early to Rise, they message me all the time, Galel, I'm trying to do this, can you help me with a prompt? And because I have experience with it, we do some prompt engineering and give that to them, right? So that is existing now kind of below the surface. I think you'll see more of that over the next few months, which will make it easier for people who maybe don't have a coach to be able to do some of these advanced things with AI.
Okay, so starting out, the person who's just watched this is like, okay, I'm finally ready to break down and start using AI. The best thing for them to do is go to ChatGPT, get the $20 thing.
Yes.
Is there anything else that people should consider? Grok or Claude or anything else if they want to create marketing that works?
Yes. So I would have them split test. So you'll have to shell out $40 because Claude right now costs $20 and premium, ChatGPT costs $20.
So it's $40 a month.
$40 a month for the two of them.
$500 a year for a good copywriter is pretty darn good.
Right?
Yeah.
And so split test them. Try out
two copywriters
for the price of $40 a month, right? So what I would do is split test those two. Try it out in ChatGPT, use the same prompt in Claude.ai. A lot of copywriters I work with use Claude versus ChatGPT. It's just a different language model, right? Just they say the same thing just differently. Try it out and see what resonates with your audience. So for example, Shannon Logan, going back to her example, she was generating ads originally out of ChatGPT. Then Claude came around, I introduced her to Claude and I said, hey, it's another language model you may want to check out. And she said, you know what? I really like what Claude's giving me. And so now that Claude has released a new language model, she's finding that language doesn't really work for her audience. So she moved back to ChatGPT now to write her ads and emails. So there's going to be tweaks and adjustments to be made over time.
All right. Last question, fun question. What else do you use AI for in your life?
I use AI to help me figure out when my workouts and sleep should be. So I use an app called Rise that's connected to my Aura Ring based upon my activity level the previous day, the sleep that I've been getting, and my just overall well-being. It tells me when my energy dips are gonna be and when my energy, like when my focus is gonna be high. So I use that to help me schedule out my next day and what I'm gonna be doing activity-wise.
Cool. And anything else that, anybody else using AI for that's similar to that, not just around health and fitness, but just to make their life better?
Gosh, I mean, I will say Motion is an app that a lot of clients use because it is AI and it moves your schedule around if you have certain tasks. And it's basically like, oh, this got moved down on your schedule. Okay, we'll reschedule it accordingly for you. And it moves your calendar around for you. I've had a lot of clients use that, or some of our coaching clients, and they love that. So that's around more on the productivity side that people really like. So Motion, it's not inexpensive to use, but a lot of people swear by it.
What about financial tools? Do you know anybody that uses AI stuff for like budgeting and investing and that type of stuff?
Yes. So there are, again, your mileage may vary, and we're not investment advisors, so use caution. But there are investors that I know that are using AI tools to create certain models that will basically give them projections based upon the market trends, historical data, and are giving them actual moves to make as far as trading goes.
But what about just like in day-to-day business expenses and
yes.
stuff like that?
Okay, so here's one that I had. So I have a client who we recently did an expense audit, and basically we just uploaded the data from the bookkeeper and said, we want you to summarize this data and tell us what are the recurring monthly expenses that have recurred for more than 3 months. Because sometimes you'll pay for something 2 months and then cancel it. And so then it spits out, you have these recurring subscriptions, and he identified like, wait a second, I've been paying this web host for the last, 18 months, and I don't know why. That's something very simple that AI can help you with. Identify those areas of opportunity where you can generate more profit.
Awesome. All right. So earlier you mentioned something you wanted to give away. What was that again, and how do people get
Yes. So it's the content clarity system. It was one of the presentations I did, I think in Cancun, Mexico. So if you comment content down below, I will make sure that you get a copy of that AI prompt. And there's a video that I put together that walks people through that.
Absolutely awesome. And I'm sure you have lots of questions. So just comment below or send a message to support@earlytorise.com with all of your AI marketing questions, because this was a fun conversation. Lots to learn, lots of ideas for me, and I know you'll have lots of ideas, and we want to make sure that you get the best of the best advice so that you're able to accelerate your marketing and just grow your business and get more results so that you have more time with your family. All right, this is Craig Ballantyne with Galel Fajardo here from Early to Rise, and we look forward to talking to you soon.